as I have said, the trajectory of the Kahn family went from goose feathers via revolution of 1848, to banking. And the two revolutionaries were Bernhard and Hermann, and for some reason the descendants of Bernhard and the descendants of Hermann, of whom I am one, the Frankfurt branch, did not really keep in touch. This is very difficult to understand because normally families have some kind of cohesion, but for some reason, in this case, there was a split. And the reason there could have been a fight between the two brothers later on, maybe in the 60s, probably about money. But I have no idea, there's no evidence, and it is just as likely, perhaps more likely, that it just happened that way. In any case, there was no real cohesion. I know that Uncle Max of the Hermann tribe did carry on some correspondence with Otto H. of the Bernhard crowd. And I know that my mother, Ida, once met Lily Deutsch, probably in Berlin, but I have no idea when and how, and I know nothing about it. Now, my mother, Ida, left Frankfurt just in the nick of time. She was still in Frankfurt during Crystal Night and survived in November 1938, and in February 1939 she went to London and lived alone in London during the Blitz for 3 years. In 1943 she went to the States, a long and difficult trip in a convoy with U-boats everywhere. Anyhow, she made it to New York in 1943 to join her daughter, my sister Margot, and her husband Paul. And then she went on. She lived in Washington and had one job after another, was perfectly content, and lived on a long life until she died at the age of 91. And Emil went to the States, as we have mentioned, in 1935, and then for the rest of his life he spent his time teaching. He did not fulfill his promise as a composer or conductor, but although he did some conducting in the United States, he mainly taught. And after the debacle of his second marriage with Ellen Beck, the singer whom Nelly had recommended before she left, and that marriage, of course, went wrong, he married again Mathilde, another singer whom we all liked, but that didn't last either. But he had a very agreeable disposition, and he was never disgruntled, and he enjoyed his life. I think he enjoyed his children and his grandchildren. But as I said, we were not in touch with the descendants of Bernhard. And I suspect they do not have the same cohesion as we do, the descendants of Hermann, who meet from time to time at family gatherings, and we enjoy each other's company. And I hope that next time we have a gathering, we meet in the castle Ohika of Otto H. Kahn, because it's big enough. It has 126 rooms. It won't have 127 servants, but it'll have enough. And I think we should meet together, and we should have a grand reunion with the descendants of the other revolutionary, and we'll have a very, very good time, I am sure.